Hey guys, welcome to Basic Teen TV. My name's Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
And we are a weekly podcast where we talk about some 90s teen TV dramas. The show that we have been discussing is Dawson's Creek. We're into season 4. And tonight we're going to be talking about episodes 10, 11, and 12. All right. So the first episode called Self-Reliance. I watched this show on Thursday and I already forgot what it's about.
Nothing really happened in this episode.
Yeah, it was a total snooze fest, except that Joey was being major biatch throughout the entire episode. Didn't she have to? She had to cram for a test or something.
Yeah,
and
her sister went away for this episode. I guess they were gone for the weekend, and so not only did she have to study for this test, take care of the B&B, take care of her nephew, right?
Yeah.
And I guess in some sort of way take care of Pacey, like occupy Pacey, like entertain him or something.
Well, he said that he was gonna stay there with her at the house / B&B, and he was gonna do the babysitting while she studied, and then he's in the kitchen with the kid and they're like banging on pots and pans, and she comes out like pissed.
So she
kicks him out,
puts his jacket on him, like forces his jacket on him, and like kicks him out of the house.
Although I will say that's sort of like a red flag for Pacey. Like if this is how he is being responsible and like helping to take the burden off of Joey by like letting the kid bang on pots and pans while she's trying to study, that's a bad sign, I think.
Of Pacey's
child rearing abilities,
parenting skills at the age of 17.
Yeah, but compared to Joey, who's like perfection.
Right. So I don't understand why she couldn't just come out and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to study. Could you occupy the kid in a different way?" And
she like puts his clothes on him, his jacket.
Yeah, she like forces his jacket onto him.
If he fucks up again, then kick him out. But like, give the guy like a second chance. But no, she comes out. She's like on a tear. Like, yeah, forces him to like put on his outerwear and then kicks him out the door. And then like 2 seconds later, a family of 4 shows up to stay at the Airbnb. So then she can't study because she has to babysit and wait on these people. Yeah. Then she like quote unquote flunks her test the next morning. She gets like a C or something.
She gets a C.
It's the end of the world.
That's what I have to say about that.
Great. Thanks for that input.
Oh, it finally came.
Cindy's been waiting for it since before we started recording.
Well, she was on her period, and I think she was just overwhelmed by everything in this episode.
Is that what it was? She was PMSing?
I think she was PMSing.
I mean, I will say this. It's been a long time since we've seen this neurotic Joey Potter. Like, this reminded me of like Joey season 1, season 2. And it's like, I feel like season 3, she like loosened up a little bit, you know, like Pacey, like running off on a 3-month sailing trip certainly has to like change your personality a little bit, because you're going on a whim, you're going with the flow, you don't know what's going to happen or what you're going to do or where you're going to go or where you're going to be. So I felt like after that, like she kind of loosened up a bit, but then like, I don't know, isn't she kind of already settled in her college decision? Like, I guess we haven't been told where she's going yet, but I don't know, after last episodes when she had that fancy dinner, you know, that whoever that dude is, do you remember that dude? He was like a member of the yacht club, but I mean, I just described him as like a booster for the college that she was trying to get into.
Oh, yeah, he was very kind of like college headhunter.
Right, yeah. I just think that dude was a booster, but he seemed really like that pretty much Joey had it made to get into this college that she was trying to go for. So like, I don't know. I remember when I was a senior in high school, that once I found out where I had gotten accepted and where I decided I was going to go, I was like, fuck the rest of this year. Like, as long as I don't fail miserably in my finals, like,
yeah, it's kind of
I'm not
like
going to try that hard anymore.
If you have a shitty job and then you've been applying and then you hear back from another job, a better one, the last 2 weeks at your shit job, you're like, fuck this. You show
like,
up.
Fuck it. Yeah. You're like, show up because I still need to get this paycheck.
Yeah. You're like, but I fucking hate all of you and I hate this.
Anyways, so I was just like a little confused as to why she was like stressing out so much. I'm like, aren't you pretty much set with where you're going to go to college? Like, I understand like you don't want to totally fuck up your
PMS
finals,
Joey
but
is back
all right.
in full force.
In full force, man.
I mean,
And like even, I'm sorry, Victoria, go ahead.
she has like a meltdown later. So I think Pacey feels bad and he goes to the teacher and he finagles for her to like do like a retake of the test. And then he goes to the house and she like is having a full-on meltdown and she's like, I'm so tired of having to do everything. I'm so tired of having to like take care of the guests and watch the kid and worry about school. And I'm like, you've been doing this for one day, one whole day, and you're like losing your mind. You're so tired of having the weight of the world on your shoulders for 24 hours. Like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah, relax. Go, have sex. I cannot stress this enough. It's time for her.
She's making such a big deal about this, and they like her and Pacey have been going together for a while. Pacey's obviously had sex already. Like, just do it already. She's waiting because it's this big deal, but you know what? Once you have it, you're gonna realize it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and especially the first time, you're like, did we even do it? Was that right?
Yeah.
I don't understand what we just did. That's it. That's the
it.
thing that I've been waiting. Like, well, for me, 18 years for.
I was 18 too.
And I didn't know if we like.
You did it right.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
I think
It
we
was
have.
a traumatic experience,
You just
actually.
like stuck it in for like a nanosecond, and then that was it.
Well, no, it was in, but then I like everywhere.
He popped your cherry.
Everywhere, and it hurt, and I cried. And I was like, is this right? Did we do this right? I thought it was supposed to feel good. Oh, it was in college, because I remember it was in the dorm rooms. It was in his dorm, and I was like in the communal dorm bathroom, sitting in the shower,
I should have
crying.
put like a warning before she went into that story, just to be like, people, Cindy's gonna get real graphic.
You can
So
bleep,
if you
just
wanna-
bleep the whole thing.
So
Just one big bleep.
If you want to fast forward through this,
Cindy's about to tell a story,
yeah.
and then there's just like 20 seconds of bleeping. Bleep, 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 bleep,
Tears, sobbing.
Bleep.
bleep, 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 sex.
Did we do it right?
It just felt like children's toys when you're putting the little shapes into the holes. It felt like
So
a
it was like
square peg being put into a round
yeah,
thing,
a round hole.
slamming in.
That's what babies do sometimes too. They like pound
They
on it.
do.
All right.
What were we even talking about? Oh yeah, she needs to
That Cindy-
experience that for the first time.
Yeah, it'll definitely make her less uptight.
Yeah,
It totally will.
it'll humble her.
Yeah. So she does get a chance to retake it. Apparently another student in her class like missed the first exam because he was sick. So he's having a makeup session to for kids who missed it, and is offering Joey this opportunity to retake the test. And I want to note also that this is a new literature teacher that we have, and he's so much nicer and appropriate and an actual educator than that first guy that we saw. Was it season 2?
Mm-hmm.
But this new literature teacher was very kind, and we actually saw like a teaching moment, like an actual like teaching moment, because I don't remember what book they were reading. Wasn't Yeah, but it was, I can't remember the author or the book that they were reading.
Was it on Walden?
Hawthorne, maybe.
On Walden Pond? Is that what the book they were reading? I don't remember.
Well, that's what like the line that Joey read.
Oh.
The teacher like highlighted a couple sentences for her to read out loud, and the first 3 words of that phrase was on Walden Pond and someone being alone or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, my point is that we're actually seeing a teacher be a teacher.
Yeah, not a piece of shit.
And not
Yeah, for the
not a
first
huge
time.
Yeah, not a piece of shit like most of the adults in this town, although most of the kids are pieces of shit too, so I don't...
It's a town full of assholes.
Yeah, it's just a town full of assholes.
That is also something we've stated before in this podcast.
Just a town full of assholes all navigating their assholery.
Yeah, they're just trying to one up each other. Like, who would be the biggest asshole?
I think there are only like two other big kind of main storylines in this episode. The other one being that Mr. Brooks, whose name is Arthur, has decided to allow AI
represent,
has decided to allow Dawson to do a documentary on him. So they're becoming closer. And I feel like Dawson's real plan or real agenda here is to figure out, he says that he wants to know why Mr. Brooks doesn't make pictures anymore. Mr. Brooks doesn't like to call them movies or films, they're pictures. He said it, Mr. Brooks has said it, like
a lost love.
Yeah. He went to Hollywood with this girl who he loved and created this film, this picture. So his girlfriend at the time was the leading lady. His best friend was the leading man. And then it turns out in the course of filming this, the Mr. Brooks's girlfriend and his best friend end up falling in love, and they like run away together.
Yeah, like echoes.
Exactly.
And that's why he wants to do this stupid fucking documentary.
Yeah,
because he wants to like get some insight or something from AI. And Dawson's afraid he's going to stop too.
Yeah. Although, like in the last episode, we found out that Dawson is applying to film school. Because you thought he was applying to University of Southern South Carolina.
Yeah. Like where all the filmmakers go. South Carolina.
But it was actually University of Southern California Film School. So I guess to sum up, like, I believe that Dawson's agenda is kind of threefold. Like, one, he wants to know why Mr. Brooks stopped making pictures. Number two, he says that he wants to like learn from him because he thinks Mr. Brooks is a pretty good picture maker. And then number three, to figure out this like whole lost love situation. Well, that storyline was pretty boring.
This whole episode was all the storylines were kind of boring.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just like, I don't know, they're just killing time until they can go away to college. They should just
have them all graduate early.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be some sort of like big tragic thing that happens at the end of this season, and they're just like building up to it. Like maybe someone else dies. Fingers crossed.
Who do you want to die?
All of them.
They all die, and then there's just like a reboot of Dawson's Creek college years, but it's just a bunch of different people.
Yeah. I definitely want Dawson to die, but I don't think they could kill him because it's his creek.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't.
Way harsh, Ty.
Think he dies. Does Dawson die?
I don't know.
Next in line, I want Joey out of the picture.
I will say
Bye,
this.
bitch.
I will say this. All of them make it to college.
You remember that?
Do they all go to the same college?
I don't know.
Do they all go to film school with Dawson?
In South Carolina?
I don't know. But I know I've seen clips out there where they are in college, the main characters. Maybe with the exception of Pacey. I don't remember. Like I've seen clips of Dawson in college, of Jen in college, and of Joey in college. And maybe Jen and Joey go to the same college. I don't know. But those three main characters. So I have no idea what happens to Jack. I have no idea what happens to Pacey. I don't know if we're going to see Andy coming back in the college days.
Is she just like gone forever? She's like, I
and so
off
far,
to Italy, and
I realized it's way better than Dawson's Creek.
I realized there was a whole world out there outside of the podunk that I lived in, and now I never want to go back.
Well, she got accepted to Harvard College. She's not. Yeah. She wouldn't be even be coming back to
Harvard
Capeside
College. The big leagues.
Oh yeah, so she just goes to Harvard, and then she doesn't talk to them anymore because she's like, "Hey, guess what? I'm better than you guys, and I don't know why I was ever friends with you in the first place."
All you assholes.
So far in these, and also let's just point out quickly, in these 3 episodes that we're talking about tonight, they don't address Andy and Jack's dad. Like we saw at the in the credits that the actor who plays their dad passed away, but now it's just kind of like Jack is like his character, like we're probably just never going to see him in his home ever. He's just going to be out and about in Capeside hanging out with everybody else, and we're not going to get a glimpse of what his home life is like anymore.
I mean, we don't always see we see like Mitch and Gail, Dawson's parents, and I guess we see Graham's. In the next episode, we get a glimpse of Pacey's home life. He doesn't live there anymore, but we ordinarily don't see his parents. This might be the first time we see his mother.
This is the first time we've seen his mother. Yes.
Right. So the parents are kind of secondary.
Jack's mother?
No.
Pacey's parent.
Pacey.
Pacey's
Oh,
family.
I
Yeah.
was like, damn, I missed a huge portion of this if it's Jack's mother.
But
No, she was talking about Pacey.
But that's my next point, is that Andy and Jack's mother several seasons ago was like cuckoo bananas and like locked in a room with like depression and whatever. And what happened to her? Do we know what happened to her? Did
Is
they
she
ever
alive
address-
still?
I don't know.
I feel
I
like
know.
you bring this up every time.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, but
Because
it's
they just-
I
confusing.
know.
They just wrote her existence out of the show. She's never mentioned.
Is she still in the bedroom upstairs,
I don't know.
where is she?
I feel like she's like died and buried in the backyard, and they just don't talk about it.
And then the other, I guess, major thing is that Jen and Jack go to this gay club. Oh, it's called the Gay Straight Teen Coalition. And so Jack really doesn't want to go, and Jen's just kind of like, come on, you got to meet more gay people.
And isn't it in like another town? It's like in the next biggest town over or something.
Oh, is it? I don't
think-
remember that.
I think that's what the deal is.
Steve's Creek.
Steve's Creek.
They drove on over to Steve's Creek.
You know, the town that they live in is not called Dawson's Creek. It's called Cape Side. But yeah, they go one town over to Steve's Creek. And I think it's supposed to be like the next biggest town.
Okay.
Like so there's like a little downtown area or whatever, and they meet in like a hip coffee shop. And I think the reason they have to do that is because Jack is the only gay kid in Cape Side. That's out.
That's out.
So in order to join a club of other kids, the excuse is that they have to go to the next town where it's a little bit bigger, where there's like 10 outed gay people instead of just one.
It seemed like a fun scene.
Yeah, except that the leader of their little club was kind of a douchebag. He was like a bully.
Yeah.
And he was like really militant about his homosexuality, which is fine if you stand by your identity, but he was like challenging Jack on his comfort level.
Or, yeah, I was going to say
And I
that
was
that's
like,
exactly what I was like. Jack is still, you know, being potentially the only out gay person in Cape Side. Like, his development in being comfortable with his sexuality is probably going to take longer than someone who has a community of people to rely on for support. And
Yeah, and this guy keeps calling him like a jock. And he's like, it's so easy for you because you play football and you pretend to be straight.
Yeah, this guy has like a real chip on his shoulder from the minute he meets Jack, because he's like, oh, you're the gay football player. And then he's like, sees that like Jack's good looking and he's a football player, and he just immediately has a chip on his shoulder that this guy is like a douchebag asshole. And then he just like bullies him for the rest of the meeting. And
Yeah,
so
and
Jack's like doesn't want to participate anymore. Jen's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's totally cool. And I'm like, Jen.
Yeah, this guy's a good time. And Jack's like, you don't know where I came from. You don't know anything about me. He's like, my mom's been in the bedroom upstairs for the last 2 years, and my dad disappeared last episode.
I just want to point out the actor who plays, so this leader of this gay straight teen coalition, the character name is Toby. He's played by the actor David Monahan, who I have seen before in other things. And again, it's that same thing where I just cannot place where I've seen him before.
He's just like a character actor, though.
Yeah, sounds like it. So anyways, is there anything else with this episode? You know what? We had made a bold prediction last week about the fallout of the kiss, which kind of only really happened between Dawson and Gretchen in this particular episode.
I don't remember what I said.
You said that Pacey was...
Oh, yeah. So I think that was the main reason why Joey was being such a bitch, because she was like upset that in the end of the last episode, they walked into a party and saw Gretchen and Dawson kissing under the mistletoe. And so but she didn't want to admit it. And so then Joey had to,
Who?
I don't know.
Who?
Pacey had to basically back Joey into a corner and make her admit that she had like an ish with having witnessed
Was that my prediction?
No, your prediction was that Joey wouldn't care and that Pacey would have a problem with it, but Pacey didn't give two shits.
I feel like
But he does.
I thought mine was the opposite. I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
None of this matters.
None of it matters. But yeah, so then Joey finally admits that she's got a little bit of a problem with it, and then I don't know, then she gets over it. And then in the next episode we learn that I think Pacey's got a little problem with it too. Everyone's got a fucking problem with it.
Yeah,
I think Gretchen has a problem with it too.
I think it's kind of funny because
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember my bold prediction either. I mean, we could like pull it up.
And
real
we
quick.
were really into these bold
really-
predictions
all
at
right.
the time. This was only a week. This was
I
7
know,
days
this
ago.
was only a week ago that we talked about this.
This is what happens when you're having alcohol and giving bold predictions. You forget your bold prediction.
Yeah, you forget. I'm gonna look it up real quick, but I think that was pretty much it that happened in this episode, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think Joey went to talk to Dawson. Like Pacey made Joey go talk to Dawson about it.
yeah.
And then she was just in his bedroom when he came home with some CDs.
Oh wait, yes. Is it this? Yes. Is it this episode? Yes. Dawson gives Joey his Christmas present to Joey early, and it's a portrait that he took of the two of them at the holiday party. And
Embracing.
Yes, embracing.
It was a candid shot, and he framed it.
Yes, and that was his gift.
And she started
And
crying because she's
crying.
PMSing. And that's what happens.
Well, I think she was also kind of happy to see like that Dawson seems to be moving on. Like maybe now they can rebuild a friendship. Like that picture was kind of Dawson's like olive branch.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
There was another conversation, and I wrote down, like, how many times can we beat the dead horse here? Between Pacey and Joey talking about, Joey's like, you're my future and he was my past. Like, they had that conversation for the 50th goddamn time.
It's called Don't Date Your Friends.
Right. It's called boundaries.
Okay, guys, hold on. Give me just a minute. I really want to look up our bold predictions from last week. Hold on. Okay, so I went back and I listened to the bold predictions, and Cindy seems to be psychic, or not even psychic, just further proof that this show is super duper transparent.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I've seen enough of the show to be able to boldly predict accurately.
I was wrong about Joey not giving a shit. She does give a shit because it sends her into a, kind of a mental breakdown or some. She just goes off the rails, with the whole English test and all that shit. And then in this particular episode, Pacey is the one who calmly advises her to go talk to Dawson about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Pacey being the voice of reason yet again, and Joey being a crazy, jealous biatch. Although I think in the next episode we see that actually Pacey does have a slight ish with the whole thing. So we can go ahead and go into the next episode. Episode 11 called The Tao of Dawson. Ugh. So this episode opens up with Dawson and Pacey fishing early in the morning. I'm like, oh, they're just back to being like besties.
Mm-hmm. Yay!
This is like a bro date where they're like testing the waters to see if they can be buds again.
Yeah. I think Dawson has more of an agenda here because he's going after Pacey's sister. I think he is more willing to mend their friendship because he not that necessarily wants to get the okay from Pacey, but just so there's not like further tension between them.
Well, yeah, you can't be like frenemies with your ex-best friend while also dating his sister. It's just complicated. Also, I'll say it again.
Say it again. Don't date your friends.
Don't date your friends.
Boundaries.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know we don't have Tinder yet, but, meet someone new who's a stranger to you. and build a life with them. And then you don't have to worry about all these complications.
All these spider webs.
Yeah, so many strings attached. But this is what happens in a small town. This is what small town people do.
Yeah.
It's real complicated.
So Dawson attempts. So last episode, we find that that both Gretchen and Dawson have told each other that the kiss meant nothing. They're just friends. They don't want to ruin their friendship because of one kiss. But in actuality, Dawson is in love with Gretchen.
Yeah, he wants to bang.
Meanwhile, Gretchen and Pacey go on a little road trip because Gretchen needs to pick up her car from her ex-boyfriend. She left it there at this college that she dropped out of.
In Johnny's Creek. So they drive over to Johnny's Creek.
Yeah, what college and what town?
They don't say. I don't think that they say what college or what town. But apparently it is a trip that if they'd started early in the morning and it was just a quick come back around, they would have been back by nighttime, by nighttime. So wherever they went, I don't know, it was a half a day trip. So they show up and I forgot to write down. Did I write it down? Who this,
who is that actor?
Who's that actor that plays Gretchen's
someone?
Ex-boyfriend? Yes, his name. I
thought it was Ryan Reynolds at first. But it's not.
Really?
It's not.
Definitely not Ryan Reynolds.
But he's that kind of guy. He looks like that kind of guy. He's like
a white man with brown hair and
blue
blue
eyes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this actor looks like.
Same kind of.
He's got that same
vibe.
Bro I mean, I know that Ryan Reynolds is Canadian, but he has this all-American look. The actor in this episode, Gretchen's ex-boyfriend, just has that all-American bro-y look, you know?
His hair
though. Yes. Thank
Dude,
you.
What in the fuck was that?
It looked like he had, what was that? I don't even know how to describe it.
Remember in middle school when it was popular to curl your bangs for girls?
Okay.
It almost looked like, he had bangs.
It looked like his hair was plopped on top of his head. Like that hair didn't belong to his head.
Yeah, it looked insane.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
It was jarring.
I know.
I couldn't even pay attention to what was supposed to be happening when he was in the scene.
It was worse than Dawson's mushroom cap in season 3.
Way worse. I
worser.
didn't even know that hair could do that, actually. My God.
Are you looking up the actor?
Yeah, the actor's name is Christian Kane. He's born in Dallas, Texas.
Ooh,
hey.
We're from the same town.
I don't know who he is. He just looks familiar.
He's done a lot of what looks to be Hallmark holiday movies, Lifetime channel movies.
He's got one of those Ryan Reynolds faces.
He does not look like Ryan Reynolds. Just sorry.
A little bit.
No.
Minus the weird hair.
No.
And I got the impression that we were all supposed to be, as we're watching this, taken by him, because it's Gretchen's ex, and as soon as they roll up, we're supposed to be like, ooh, damn, I can see why she had problems leaving her ex, because he fine. And I was like, I had the opposite reaction.
Ooh, girl, would you look at him? Yeah, opposite reaction. I was taken aback because I was upset because I was like, this guy is so much more attractive than this, and it's all because of his hair that they made him look like a fucking idiot. So they show up, and her car is on cinder blocks because they have removed the tires. And she's like, Nick, what the fuck? What happened to my car? I should have known better than to trust you to take care of my car. And he manipulates them into staying because they're about to throw a party. And then the next thing I remember is seeing him and Pacey in the hot tub together. Meanwhile, everybody around them is in their winter coats and stuff.
Oh, sorry. I'm having a moment here. We're just sitting here talking
Cindy's
about
making out
Dawson's
with
Creek.
Murphy.
And then Murphy jumped up and plopped. He's eye level with me, plopped on my lap, and he's giving me face kisses. He's just demanding pets, right, Murph? Yeah. Oh.
Homer.
Sorry, it was hard to focus in that moment.
Well, that's okay. He's like our little show sidekick.
Hear that? That was a kiss he just gave me.
So they stay for this party. Oh, and like I was describing before, like one of the next scenes we see is like Nick and Pacey in the hot tub.
Ugh. Which I don't know, shirtless, and they're both
another like mark against this actor who's playing Nick. Like he had a soft physique.
They both did,
with like tiny baby nipples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they both had like little tiny baby nips.
Yeah.
Gross.
And Pacey, his body is built. I mean, we're like body shaming right now, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Pacey's body is built. It's so gross. He's not broad shouldered at all. He's just like this tiny little. He's built like a woman.
Oh.
I don't want to see that.
Poor Joshua Jackson.
I think this is just before the fitness craze that happened in the 2000s and the 20s. So it was in the 90s. It was okay to just be like skinny or like skinny fat.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Because everybody wore like super baggy clothing and
right.
you were just skinny.
Yeah, and now if you see an actor or an actress shirtless, they're ripped.
Yeah, now you have to fucking go to the gym for 12 hours a day in order to be an acceptable human being, and the rest of us are just fat cows.
Yeah. I mean, even in like the 50s and 60s, actors that were considered really hot and very fit, they don't look anything like they look now.
No way.
But I think they looked good.
Oh yeah, no, they look. Yeah, I mean, hello, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
She wasn't abs and shoulders and stuff. She was
tits and ass.
She was tits and ass,
Mm-hmm.
but like, soft curves and waist and hips and boobs.
Yeah, and even like Marlon Brando back in the day, he was hot. But he wasn't ripped.
Or probably like Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly wasn't an actor who would do scenes where he'd have his shirt off and he was a dancer. But like Gene Kelly was gorgeous in my opinion. But I'm sure underneath his, he wasn't like the most fit person maybe. I don't know. Or just like rips like what we see today.
Yeah, because there's
just
a difference
exactly
between being
Victoria's
fit and being ripped. Because ripped, you're like working specific muscles so that they look good when you're naked.
Right.
But that doesn't even necessarily mean that you're fit.
Yeah, there's a difference between like the doctor saying that you have physical fitness, health, or whatever, you're like healthy, versus being Instagrammable naked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, all this being said, it was still really gross to see them both without shirts. Their bodies looked slimy or slinky or something.
Well, they were pale and I mean, I don't know. We are body shaming a lot. We should move on.
They were gross. It made me want to vomit.
So at some point in the night, so like throughout this whole thing, Pacey is really encouraging Gretchen to get back together with Nick. He thinks Nick's a great guy. Nick likes all the same things that Pacey likes. And so he's just like, this is a great guy. I don't know why you broke up with him in the first place.
And he's just doing that so that Gretchen doesn't hook up with Dawson.
His agenda, his ulterior motive is that he doesn't want his sister hooking up with his ex-best friend.
He also doesn't know why Gretchen left college, which was apparently because I don't still understand why Gretchen left college.
Me either.
But apparently she got pregnant by Nick and had an abortion. No,
she had a miscarriage.
She had a miscarriage. And then she decided to leave and go home. And nobody else knew about this. So I'm like, okay, so to carry on. But instead she like dropped out of college and came home and didn't tell anybody why, except for
Dawson.
Dawson knows. Nick doesn't know. And Pacey doesn't know. And maybe if Pacey knew, he wouldn't be like pushing this guy on her. But he, from like one Thanksgiving or whatever, thinks that this is a good guy and thinks that his sister is fucking her life up by quitting college and coming home and then dating Dawson instead of staying in college and dating this fucking douchebag.
Nick, who is it? Who is a douchebag and a dick? I mean, because Gretchen also says, like, she admits to Pacey that she what happened, but Nick doesn't know, and I never wanted him to know because I didn't want to ruin his goal of sleeping with the entire Theta house. That's what she says. So she even says it right there that Nick is, some slut.
He's a fuckboy.
Douchebag. Yeah.
The definition.
Yeah.
The bangs, the attitude, the hot tubs. He's a fuckboy.
He's a fuckboy.
So there's a scene where it's we see Gretchen and Nick on the couch together, and he's just manipulating the shit out of her, or at least he thinks he is, to get her to go up to his room so they can have sex again. And as far as he can tell, he thinks it's working because Gretchen goes upstairs. And I can't really tell for sure either if Gretchen's falling for it. Like, she's not putting up a fight, but I can't really tell if she's falling for it or not. So they go into his room, and of course his room is typical late 90s, early 2000s. There's like blacklight posters,
tapestries.
There's like
string lights,
bikini and cars, posters everywhere.
It's a lot of TNA.
And like magically candles lit. Like as they entered the room, there's a lot of candles that are already lit.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, are you expecting someone?"
Which seems like a fire hazard. Like he would have had those lit the whole party.
Yeah,
right?
like he's gonna like set all of his wall tapestries on fire.
Yeah. All of his neon posters, his glow in the dark posters.
Blacklight posters are all gonna catch fire.
So he leads her to the bed, and I want to get to this part because like he says some super cheesy shit to her, and it just reminds me of the time when I was in the back seat of my boyfriend's car, and he's saying like so the things that he says to her is like, "You're a puzzle piece that's been missing," or like, "I'm your puzzle piece that's been missing. We fit together so well." I want to, he's like, "I know you can lose yourself in me." And then like, it just reminds me of, like I said, one of the first times that I like had a major makeout session with my boyfriend in high school at the time. We're in the backseat of his car, and he literally spouts a line to me from the movie Casper.
What was the line?
I wish I could remember the line. What does he say to me?
Wait, what year was this? How old were you?
I was either a freshman or a sophomore in high school.
Okay, so time appropriate, because I think Casper came out around that time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Casper was definitely
and also age appropriate because you guys were young.
Right. I was a freshman. He was a sophomore.
At first, I thought you meant of college, and I was like,
"Oh no!
God!
This is high school." I'm gonna see if I can like find the quote real quick because it's one that, if you know the movie, it's one of the like. I think it's the
I used to love that movie.
You know the part where he becomes a real boy, and then it's like
they kiss or something.
They kiss, but maybe it's like soon after he turns back into a ghost. Oh, he says, "Can I keep you?"
Right.
That's what my boyfriend says to me.
Oh my
in the back seat
God!
of his
Did you
car,
break up immediately?
As he has his hand up my shirt.
Can I keep you?
Oh, so this is what he's spouting in order to like bang. He's trying to bang.
Yeah. Because we're doing like heavy petting and, hands and things are going all sorts of places. So he's just trying to like, quote unquote, romance me so I'll do more stuff.
Do you think that he remembers that moment and looks back on it? Like, sometimes when you can't sleep and you're just laying in bed and then your mind comes up with every embarrassing thing that you've ever done or said, and you'll think back to like some weird shit in high school and you're like, "Oh my fucking God, I did that. I can't believe I did that." And then you're like, "Okay, just go to sleep. Just stop thinking about this. Why are you even thinking about this?" Do you think that's one of those moments for him?
I hope so.
And he's losing sleep over it.
Does that happen for men, or is that only for women who think obsessively about every moment?
It might be a woman thing,
and men just move through life without a fucking care in the world.
Look at me. This happened freshman year in high school, and I still remember.
You're still
it.
Traumatized.
I can if I close my eyes, I can picture it. I can see us in his car and the position that we're in, like everything.
He doesn't remember. He doesn't even remember your name. He has no clue.
I also remember.
He's like moved on.
How about even this crazy shit? I remember the bra that I was wearing because I have thought about that bra since then. I'm like, I wish I could find that bra again because I loved it. It fit really great. It looked cute.
They probably don't make it anymore.
I mean, they probably don't.
No,
but that's also another thing that I think when I think about that moment in time, I'm like, I wish I could still find that bra somewhere because it was cute and it was comfortable and I loved it.
I mean, if you
that's
think
what you said to the bra,
can I keep you?
Yes. Yeah, that's your takeaway from the moment. You're like, I did not have sex with that guy, but I still think about that bra.
Yeah.
every day.
And where can I find a bra like that? I
Yes.
looked on Amazon. It doesn't exist. I mean, that's what happens when you find a product that you really love.
Yes.
Guess what? Discontinued.
So he says all that cheesy shit to her, and they start making out, and she pulls away, and she starts talking. What she says, some sort of bullshit like, "I'm not that girl anymore. I'm not that girl you used to know several months ago before I left college."
Yeah.
She's grown so much in the last few months.
He's like, "Oh, I'm the bad boy they told you not to be with, and whatever." And then he
passes out.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not that girl anymore. And I know she's like, "Oh, I should be with Dawson." That's where she's having her little light bulb
realization, right?
And then she like rolls over and looks at him, and he's asleep.
He's snoring.
Fucking dude. I saw that and I was like, oh, just like a man. She's having a moment and he's asleep.
Yes.
Fuck him.
But then she leans over and like kisses him and says, "Thank you." I'm like, what are you thanking him for?
For setting her free. For like giving her a laundry list of reasons why she can walk away from this and not have any more hang-ups. That's what he did. That's what this is about. And that's what she says to Pacey the next morning when they like meet at the car, and he's like put her car back together and was like, "Okay, you can drive this home now." And then she's like, "I didn't hook up with him, if that's what you're wondering about."
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then
in like so many words, like tells Gretchen, like, "You should be with a guy like Dawson. I'm realizing this now myself."
Oh yeah, but yeah, Pacey at some point in the night, because Pacey had like a fucking hard on for Nick, and then Nick was like, "Oh, why don't you hook up with this chick here? This chick wants to fucking bang you." And he's like, "No, I have a girlfriend." And he was like, "Is she here?"
Who cares?
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck your girlfriend. She's not here right now. And also she doesn't want to have sex with you, and she's a huge bitch. So why don't you fuck this other chick?"
Nick's the kind of bro that's like, different zip code, good to go.
Yeah. So then that was Pacey's realization that this guy is an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
That he's going to like do whatever he wants to do, and he thinks other dudes should do whatever they want to do, and that women don't matter. So then he was like, "Yeah, no, never mind. I don't like this guy."
So while all that is happening, the other thing that happens, and I think we can get through this really quickly, is that the yacht club is going through its annual renovations. Joey and Drew. Does Drew work there? Is that what's happening?
I think he works there when his mother makes him
Okay.
work there.
So Joey is like getting her section ready for the annual renovation. Drew stops her and says like, "Nope, you have to do this." And I'm like, what is he doing ordering her around? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, and then she rolls her eyes and she's like,
she like does it anyways.
They had to take some stuff to the storage room.
Right. So inevitably, we all saw this coming. They get locked down in the storage room all night. And so the reason why Drew does this, or Drew lets it happen, it's hard to tell. I mean, I guess we're kind of assuming that Drew kind of does it on purpose, like gets them locked in there.
He has to see his dad over the weekend.
Yeah, his mom is making him go to New York to see his dad because he needs to keep it friendly in order for mom to keep collecting those alimony checks. And he really doesn't want to go. So instead, he concocts this plan to get them locked into the storage room in the basement of the yacht club. So they're down there all night.
And the cleaning crew or the maintenance crew isn't due to come until Monday.
The next morning.
Yeah, Monday morning.
Okay.
So this whole like concept stresses me out. Thinking about getting locked in a place, you know, like without food, and then where do you poop? That's always my thing. Like, let's say you get trapped in a room somewhere. It's not even like lack of food or water. If you're with someone else, like, where do you pee? And you're going to have to poop.
I mean, maybe the stress of it all, like, prevents you from pooping.
I don't know. The two people that are listening, write in. Let us know if you've ever been trapped somewhere with another person. Where did you pee? Where did you poop? Let us know.
I didn't even think about that. How long were they in that storage room?
I thought it was a Friday. And then, so they were only in there for
They were
a
only in
night.
there overnight. Yeah.
But when they first got locked in, I thought it was like a Friday or a Saturday night. And then Drew was like, well, the maintenance crew isn't due to come until Monday morning. So they thought they were going to be in there for days.
Okay.
Or the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, but Drew's mother finds them the next morning and is pissed, and she's pissed off at Joey.
Joey, yes. Well, like the next morning, Joey hears a buzzing sound, and she's like, "What's that noise? What's that noise?" And it turns out it's Drew's cell phone. He's had his cell phone the whole time, so he could have easily called to get them out. And Joey's like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, what? You're a fucking asshole." And he's like, he doesn't even say like what his true intentions were. He's like, the reason I got us stuck down in here is because I didn't want to go see my dad. But he allows Mrs. Valentine, his mom, to just like berate Joey. Like, this is all Joey's fault. She says something like, "Oh, you think my son would rather spend the weekend or the night down here with you rather than see his father?" This is really confusing to me because in the beginning, when Mrs. Valentine comes to Drew and says like, "Here's your bus ticket to go see your dad. He's back in New York and you need to go see him because you need to help me make sure I get those alimony checks." So she has a sense that Drew doesn't want to see his father. Drew even says it to her. He's like, "Must I really do this? Like, Must I really do this? So she should have a sense that Drew doesn't really want to go. And yet when she finds Joey and Drew the next day, she blames Joey and says like, "Oh, you think he'd rather be down here with you than be with his father?" I'm like, well, he just told you the night before he didn't really want to go.
Well, Drew and his mother are the primo assholes of the town, like number one assholes, both of them, and yeah, like I think, and then Joey, in her mind, because she's a little bit of a narcissist, she thought that he purposefully locked them in there so that he could put the moves on her.
Yeah, we're missing a big...
He attempted, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so
big part of
she
this.
like, at some point she was like, "I'm hungry," and she like climbs, she like fucking mountain climbs a shelf.
Looking at some canned tuna.
Yeah, to like pull down some cans that are apparently expired.
I don't even know how they'd get the cans open if they weren't expired, but...
Right, because nobody said anything about a can opener. But yeah, and then she like falls and he catches her and then like tries to kiss her.
Like immediately puts his mouth on her.
Yeah. It is immediate. And I was really shocked. And I was like,
yes.
I wrote, "WTF, ew, no."
I remember as I was watching it here in my apartment, I audibly yelled out, "Ew!"
Me too.
Yeah, so she...
And then
so
I
she,
think
like,
I cracked up then.
Yeah,
too.
So
I laughed
so
immediately
he catches
afterwards.
her. He immediately tries to like kiss her, and then she like gets on her feet and decks him because she's like, "Don't."
Which I had a problem. I had many problems with this whole thing. That was problem number one. I don't think she could throw a punch like that. He had a huge black eye.
She's from the wrong side of the creek, yo.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
she had
her
to fight for
dad's in
everything.
prison.
Her dad's in prison
for selling weed.
Well, and cocaine.
and cocaine.
Cocaine.
That's right. That's true.
Cocaine.
Yeah, she's like a rough and tumble.
I mean, yeah, she's
and then
the,
you never
she's
know
the
when you
bad
have
girl.
that. When you have that
bad
much,
girl who's fourth in her fucking class. Okay.
well, and then also maybe when you have that much adrenaline rush, you know,
Ooh,
maybe
yeah,
you
if
don't know where your strength comes from. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. If I had someone like put their disgusting mouth on
Yeah.
me after I fell off of a shelf.
If a person that you don't like just rescued you and then tried to molest,
violates you
tried
like
to molest you,
It was problematic. And then after
probably-
she decks him, he goes, "Could have just said thanks." Thanks
What?
for fucking what?
What?
We're trapped in this room. No one is going to come for us. No one can hear me down here if I scream and you try to fucking rape me. We're just like trapped down here in this basement and I'm supposed to thank you for you putting your mouth on me.
This is another 90s problem where if this had happened in a more modern show, it would have played differently.
Yes.
And yeah, so when Drew's mother finally comes the next morning and opens up the door, or no, she's trying to call her son because he didn't fucking show up in New York like he was supposed to, because she doesn't care that her son does not want to see his father. She only cares that he show up because she's in the middle of a legal battle with him.
Well, she needs that alimony check.
Yeah, over like some fucking money, and he's a pawn in this little scheme. So yeah. When she finds them in there, she sees the two of them together and he's got a black eye and she's like, this is your fault, bitch.
Yeah.
And Joey assumed the whole time that it was like some kind of ploy because he was like trying to get with her because he kissed her. So rightfully so, she thinks that. And then when his mother is like, oh, do you think he'd rather be in this closet with you than spend a
See
weekend
his
with
father.
Yeah. Then she's like, oh, that's what this was about. And the attempted rape was incidental.
The attempted rape in the basement where no one can hear your screams.
Yeah,
that was just completely.
Yeah, that was just opportunistic. It was incidental to the bigger plan was that he didn't want to go see his dad.
And they had this conversation at one point later, when they were trapped in the basement where no one could hear them. He said, how'd a pretty girl like you get so mean? What the fuck? Wait. She's mean in this moment because she punched him because he kissed her out of nowhere. And I will reiterate, when they're trapped below ground where no one can hear her screams. But that's mean. I had a big problem with this whole thing.
The whole thing was like this male entitlement. And he was like,
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. And like, why are you being such a bitch?
Yeah.
Because I've locked you in a basement and I'm trying to like violate you, and you're being such a pain.
You should be smiling.
Mean. Yeah, you're being such a pain in the ass about it. Smile, bitch.
Yeah, just humor it. Let's make out for a little bit, and then we'll try to get the tuna open, like if we can. But that's later.
And then one of us is gonna have to like shit behind that shelf over there, and that's cool too.
So we should definitely make out before we poop, because we're probably not going to want to make out when we're sitting in a room with our own shit.
But they definitely like picked a corner to piss in. Or like, which is the piss corner?
They had to have, because it was a whole night.
Yeah. So and that was never discussed.
Ew. And then there was this one other thing. She fell asleep and she like woke up with her head on his shoulder and he didn't sleep at all. And she's like, what? You didn't sleep? And he's like, no. And then she said something about him being a
her
pervert.
bra?
Yeah, she said something about him being a pervert. She's like, oh, that's just like you being a pervert, staying up all night. And he's like, yeah, I definitely didn't
look down your shirt
and he described her bra.
He described her bra. Yeah.
Ugh.
And then followed it up by accusing her of like snoring all night. So he's like, yeah, I was up all night, and because you were snoring all night, you were sawing wood enough to like cut down a whole forest, is what he said. That was his excuse for like taking the opportunity to look down her shirt and then describe her bra to her. And I'm like, so again, he's like,
so he violates her twice.
Yeah, and he's like blaming her. Mm-hmm. And then his mother shows up and also blames her.
Yeah, and then it's just never addressed, and then we all just move on.
Oh, God.
The
These two
90s.
people. Yeah, the fucking 90s, and then in particular for this episode, these two people, Valentines is.
But I'm going to remember that move going forward. Like if Ben and I or I'm trying to sleep and Ben's sleeping next to me and he's sawing wood, then the next day I'll be like, you were sawing wood all night. You kept me up. So of course I like looked down your shirt. I took a peek down your shirt and saw your little bra with the butterflies on the straps. What else was I supposed to do while I was awake and you were sawing wood?
No, for men, you would just be like, yeah, I went into your wallet and took all the cash out, because what else was I supposed to do while you were like sawing wood? I hacked into your Instagram. I saw who else you were talking to.
Who's this bitch?
Yeah, who's this person? You did a lot of stuff, but it's your fault because you were snoring.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Yeah,
I will say there's a theme. We've kind of talked about this in the past, but there's something that I really noticed in this episode. Dawson's Creek villains. I think I'm developing a new sort of love for the villains in Dawson's Creek, because that's all they are. Like Drew's mom. I mean, she's just a fucking bitch. And that's her only role in the show. She has no other like characteristics, no other traits. She's just a villain. And I think they're really funny. And I'm kind of like growing to love them a lot.
I mean, you have to remember that this is a 90s and early 2000s show before they developed more complicated character development where the villain may be a little more subtle.
Yeah, well, like a normal human being, because we have good sides, bad sides, but no one is just.
Yeah, no. In Dawson's Creek, everything is painfully obvious,
black and white.
Right.
You're a good guy or you're a bad guy.
Yeah, you're like you're having a good day or you're being a mega bitch.
Well, especially where the adults are concerned, because it is a little. There are more gray areas with the kids.
Yeah,
but like the adults
they need to
are
give
either
the kids a little
good
more
or bad.
They need to give the kids a little more nuance because they're the main characters that we're supposed to be paying attention to.
Yeah, so yeah, adults are like good guys or bad guys.
Yeah,
they're either like Gail and Mitch or they're fucking assholes.
I love it. It just struck me today. I was like, these fucking villains, man. I love them.
And most of the adults in Cape Side are fucking assholes.
Yeah.
And the kids are a little kind of assholes. I mean, again, this is a whole fucking town full of assholes.
Cape Side, the town of assholes.
Yep. They all got to go to Steve's Creek. Like all the good guys, the villains can stay in Dawson's Creek. And the good guys, they got to go to Steve's Creek.
Who are the good guys? Pacey?
Pacey's a good guy.
Jen
is a good guy.
Jack?
Yes, Jack's definitely a good guy.
Yeah. I mean,
Drew can stay in Dawson's Creek. He's a villain.
Yeah, he's a villain. He's like a teen villain.
Like that girl that died. The one that fell off the dock.
Yeah.
Abby.
Yeah, they ramped up the villainness. And that's how you can tell that somebody's about to die, when they really ramp up the fucking asshole. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, they died. And don't feel any way about it because we hate this person.
And see, I thought that's what they were doing with Drew. But then no one really seemed to care in this episode about him sexually assaulting Joey. So I guess he's not going to die in the next.
We have to give the other characters
episodes
the benefit of the doubt that they had no idea where Drew was or what he was doing.
That's true. But we as viewers saw it. So
yeah,
you would think he might die in the next couple episodes. But yeah, the villains it's my new favorite thing. And I just have a feeling in the upcoming episodes, I'm going to be focusing a lot on the villains.
So just to keep this show moving, we can just...
Oh, wait. I want to say one more thing about this episode.
Oh, sorry.
Once Pacey talks to Gretchen, they talk it out. He fixes her car for her the next day. And then he goes, fixed your car. Wish I could do more to fix your life. And I was like, oh,
ouch.
Damn.
I missed that line.
Damn.
I know. Bold words coming from a fucking teenage boy.
A 17-year-old.
Who's got it all figured out.
Well, he's got cars figured out.
I think that maybe he was just trying to say, like, you're my sister, I love you, and I wish I could fix everything.
I definitely have
some
some
people.
people.
He said, though.
What?
I said that's not what he said though. What he said was, "I wish I could fix your life, you stupid bitch."
But we all have people in our lives where sometimes we question their decision making, especially surrounding
the opposite sex,
dating. And I wish you kind of want to say, "Fix your car." Wish I could do more to fix your life. But we don't say that out loud. You just think it.
But then she admits that she did not hook up with Nick and his hair the night before, and that she realizes that she needs something else. And then he's like, "Okay, well, your car's fixed, so do you want like a mix CD to listen to?" And she's like, "I've already got one," and it was one that
he's
Dawson.
like, "I really need to listen to this mix CD that I got from Dawson."
Right. So that's Pacey's cue to be like, "Oh, okay, you're on the Dawson bandwagon now, and I'll see you back at home." Meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, you're not going to follow your sister home in case the car that you just fixed doesn't fucking break down on the highway?
No, he knows what he's doing with cars. He got it. He fixed it.
Did he though? Because then
he fixed the carbonator, the carbonara.
The carbonator.
He fixed the carbonator.
She just gets he gets in his car.
He fixed the carbonara,
and is like,
the eggplant parmigiana.
And then she's on her own to get from Johnny's Creek back to Dawson's Creek. And I'm
that
like,
is a hike. We all know.
Yeah. And I was like, you're not going to follow her to make sure that shit don't break down? Because he was like, oh, you just got a couple of flats, but I patched them. I was like, you patched flats on a car?
I think you can do it.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. If you get a puncture in the tire, you like there's this long tool and you put this little thread, the special thread in the long thing, and then you like shove it into the tire and you pull it out, and then I think you like heat it or you like deep fry it.
What?
Or something.
Oh my
gosh.
God, you're saying things that
Yeah, I don't even know what you're
No,
talking
guys,
about.
that is how you fix the carbonara
yeah,
on
okay.
the tires.
I'm just saying that Pacey should have been a responsible brother and followed his sister back to Dawson's Creek.
Well,
I
a lot
think
of men
he-
in
to
this
make
episode
sure-
are doing
I
fucked
think
up
to
shit.
make sure that she didn't fucking break down and wasn't
I think that
stranded
he
in the middle
did
of fucking
because
nowhere.
I think that he did. It just wasn't said out loud because they were going back to the same creek. So like, of course he would have been like behind her.
Yeah, they both had the same starting creek and they both had the same ending creek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were going from Johnny's Creek to Dawson's Creek, so I'm sure he was like not that far behind her. Anyways, I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
I might not be done with this episode yet.
We're not done with this episode because can we just quickly point out the fact that Grams and Mr. Brooks are dating?
Was
And
that on this episode too?
Dawson in true Dawson fashion,
Oh God,
like kind of
Dawson.
sticks his nose into their business. He comes over with like a box of clothes to donate. I guess Grams is in charge of some church donation drive, and like she kind of.
He walks up and they both walked out of the house at the same time and they looked sort of giddy. I mean, I actually wrote down that Dawson just walked up on them like post bang. Unintentionally.
Well, I don't. We don't know
They
that
were,
they
like,
banged or not,
rosy-cheeked.
but like, Dawson sees them and they're talking about their plans for later on that night. And I guess in the previous episode, we kind of saw Mr. Brooks like not being able to remember things very well. So he's got some sort of sickness or illness going on, and Dawson thinks that it's his mission to make sure that both of them know what's going on. And so Dawson approaches Grams first because that's who he sees first or whatever. And like the only thing I wrote down is that Dawson's having this conversation with Grams, and Grams says something to the effect of like, "Were you this concerned when Jen was dating other people, or when Jen was like dating around and stuff?" And Dawson's like, "Well, I'm not anyone to show Jen the ropes with dating. Like Jen's
He's like, Jen's been around the block.
Jen's well versed in that area. Like she doesn't need me." And Grams looks at Dawson and she's like, "Well, I just want you to know that I am well versed also."
Mm-hmm.
Like Grams knows what's up. I'm like, "Ooh, Grams."
Yeah, well, she's like had a child. She's definitely had sex before. Like she knows what's up.
Yeah. And then later on in the episode, Dawson is then with Mr. Brooks, and he shows Dawson a pair of earrings. And Dawson's like, "I'm really not the person to tell you if this is an appropriate gift or not, to show that you like Grams, that you have affection for her." And basically what it comes down to is that each one of them, both Grams and Mr. Brooks, give Dawson like this life lesson about like, we both like Grams knows that Mr. Brooks is sick. Mr. Brooks knows about Grams' husband who passed away, and the trauma that put her through and all this stuff, and like they both know what's going on without having to like say it out loud. And Dawson thought that it was his role, his mission, to make sure that they're both aware. And it's like, why do you want to get involved with each other if you know it's going to end abruptly or soon or whatever?
Because
like
they're fucking ancient.
Right.
And,
yeah.
and Dawson fucking butt out.
I had
Yeah.
the same thought. I was like, they're both really close to death. I mean, it's not like they're in their 30s and he has cancer. I mean, they're both going to die in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So just let them do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they tell him. They're like, Graham says something to the effect of like, "A few moments of joy are greater than a lifetime of sadness. So I'm going to enjoy the company of this man, and that's it." And then Mr. Brooks basically says the same thing. He's like, "A little bit of heartache is the price you pay to live life on your own terms."
Prior to this, there's a moment where Dawson and Jack are like painting the nursery for his new
Yeah, I think
baby
so.
sibling.
Yeah.
And they're having this whole conversation about like what they should do about this situation.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, you should do nothing about it because
Yeah.
it's none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
Well, even
like,
and
why
Jack
are you-
encourages. This is where I was upset with Jack, because Jack encourages Dawson to say something. I'm like, Jack, what are you doing? No.
Yeah, like fuck off. Like these people are literally like 50 years older than you. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. It's not your place. It's not your problem.
Right.
But he was like, "Oh, I feel like it's my duty to tell Grams that Mr. Brooks is dying because she's gonna have all this heartache." And I'm like,
Grams is dying.
"Yeah, like Grams is dying too." I'm in my head. I was like, "They're all old. They're all dying.
They're like 70.
We're all
First
dying."
of all, yeah. First of all, we're all dying.
We're
I
all
actually think I
dying.
wrote that down. We're all dying. Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah. So like,
But they're dying like soon.
yeah. So when
So
you get
just-
when you get to that age, yes, like they're fucking 80. Like if it's not cancer, something's gonna
It's
take.
gonna be a fall down the stairs. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a slip in the
Just let
tub.
these people fucking do what they need to do to like live out their
Golden years.
Yeah, just fuck
Yeah.
off. God, why all of a sudden do two teenagers think that they need to like tell some like 80-year-olds how to fucking live? Fuck off.
So this all kind of like circles back to Dawson, of course, because we're back now in Dawson's Creek. It all circles back to Dawson because also in the early part of the episode where they're painting the nursery, Dawson finds this like love letter that he wrote conveniently, of course, that he wrote to Gretchen back when he was a kid. And Jack is like, why don't you give it to her now? Like, and Dawson's like, well, I've already told her how I feel. And he's like, yeah, but have you told her like that? And so through all the like love and life lessons that Grams and Mr. Brooks have just given Dawson, he then like posts the letter on her front porch
that he wrote in middle school.
Right. Yeah. That he wrote in middle school. Yeah. On Gretchen's front porch post. Like he just like nails it up there or whatever. And of course, like Gretchen sees it there and she's like, oh, what's this? What's this little letter here? And reads it. And then she comes to Dawson, right?
Yeah, he's like doing some yard work and she pulls up, and as he's doing the yard work, he hears the car pull up and he's like shocked or confused as to who would be driving up. And then he turns around and it's her and he's like, what took you so long? And then she was like, I had some stuff to do. She actually said that. She's like, I had some stuff to do. And he's like, oh. And then they kiss.
And then that's how the episode ends.
She's like, I had to do my fucking laundry.
Yeah,
And
like I just got back from fucking Johnny's Creek. You know how long that drive is? I had shit to do. I had to
Yeah.
clean. It's a hike, dude.
Yeah. So now we're on to episode 12. This one is called The Tay. Is that how you pronounce that? Of Pacey. So this whole episode surrounds Pacey on Pacey's 18th birthday. And all he wants for his birthday is for him and Joey to just have a romantic evening together, just the two of them. As it turns out, Pacey's mom has come to Joey and says, I want to throw Pacey a surprise party. Please help me. And so Joey like felt that she couldn't say no. And she tells Gretchen, and Gretchen's like, Pacey's going to kill you. My family's fucking insane. This is a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. She should have never have done that.
Yeah, she was wrong.
She was definitely in the wrong.
She was wrong. And even though it kind of ends okay, she was still wrong.
It kind of ends okay, but yeah.
She was still wrong. I mean, he's being a bitch in this episode because she like wakes him up and he's sleeping on the couch. I don't know why he's sleeping on the couch. I think the only reason he's sleeping on the couch is because they don't have set for the bedrooms in the house that...
Probably.
That's true. We've never seen
I've never
anyone's
seen
bedroom.
Gretchen.
Yeah, we've never seen any bedrooms in this house.
Right. So there's only the kitchen and living room. So like they need a scene where Pacey is being woken up by Joey. And so magically he's just like sleeping on the couch because they don't have a bedroom set. And then, yeah, he's like super grumpy and is like, go fuck yourself. Leave me alone. And then she's
And
like,
he's like, remember what happened to me 10 years ago on my birthday? I got mauled by a dog.
Or he goes through like a slew of like bad birthdays that he's had. Like his birthday's cursed according to Pacey, which it sounds like it's. I mean, we come to find out that it's true. Like his birthdays have been pretty terrible.
I think Joey's the curse now, because all of this was completely preventable.
On top of all this, like so in the opening scene where Joey wakes him up with the birthday cupcake or whatever she wakes him up with, he has gotten a letter in the mail, and he sees the letter and he doesn't open it right there. He just kind of excuses himself, I guess, to his non-bedroom, to the couch. And that's where Joey asks Gretchen, like, help me with this, at least come to the party because I need as many friendly faces as possible there. So the whole plan is to get Pacey over to his parents' house for this surprise birthday party. And they show up, and Pacey's dad is like sitting in his recliner watching some hockey game. And he's like, oh, you're here. Surprise. And then the rest of the crew, Pacey's mom and the rest of his family and a couple friends, so Jack and Dawson are there as well, are all like, surprise, ooh, sorry, we're late, surprise. And Pacey's like, oh, fuck.
His parents are the fucking worst.
They're also villains, and I made a note. You know, Pacey's dad, another wonderful Dawson's Creek villain.
Well, we've seen Pacey's dad.
Yeah, he's
before.
He's an established villain, and he that continues through this. The mom is a new character
Played by Jane Lynch,
Yeah.
by the way.
From
Everything.
From Glee.
yeah.
From all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she comes off as kind of a good guy, as like Pacey's defender at first, but she's also like weirdly passive aggressive.
Like Pacey's dad is like straightforward, mean, and aggressive towards
A classic
Pacey.
villain.
Right.
Whereas mom
is definitely the passive aggressive type. Like she thinks that she's saying nice things, but it's all under a veil of like, you're a failure, you suck,
Right.
you're a terrible son.
So the whole theme of the party and the dinner is that Pacey's an underachiever and he'll never fucking do whatever it is he wants to do in life. And at some point, Joey is cornered. Well, the mom is so passive aggressive that she calls Joey by like a million fucking different names.
She calls her Joanna. I was trying to keep track. I kept rewinding several times throughout this episode because I wanted to see how many different names she called Joey, but I could only point out two. She calls her Joanna and Josie.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few instances where, and like Pacey's like, her name is Joey, and she's like, that's what I said.
That's what I said.
She's like, I'm gonna fucking call this bitch whatever I fucking want, because she's gonna pop up and do it. Because Joey's trying to be like the good girlfriend and be like, all right, I arranged this shit show, so I'm gonna fucking follow through with it.
The mom makes like
chip beef
and toast
over toast,
which is Doug's favorite meal apparently.
I had to Google what this.
Oh, dude, I fucking love chip beef over toast. That was like one of my favorite breakfasts growing up. And
this is
also
definitely a New England East Coast thing because I've never heard of this dish before.
I had to Google it. To
You know,
be
I
like,
actually-
what is this food?
I don't think it's New England at all. I think it's an East Coast Southern thing.
This is not a thing in Texas.
But it's very similar to sausage gravy, but replace the sausage with beef, like very thinly cut beef slivers.
Chipped beef.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it's almost like a bacony, it's not like a big beef hunk. It's almost like bacon consistency, or like it's been cured or something. It's fucking delicious. But there was one part in the dinner scene that confused me because they were all sitting down and she brought out the chipped beef and then she's like, oh, you know what I forgot? The ketchup. And I was like, in what world is anyone using ketchup with chipped beef? It's just another like food conundrum with this show. Sea bass and chili. And
well, I think that was just a device to get the merry-go-round going in the kitchen because Joey's in there finding the ketchup. Dawson's in there washing his hands.
The merry-go-round.
Well, because it was kind of a merry-go-round happening there in the kitchen because at first it was Dawson and Joey and Joey is like hurriedly like looking for the ketchup and asking Dawson all these questions about Gretchen. Like, oh, so are you dating? Are you in a relationship? So you're not dating, but you're in a relationship? Like, what's going on? What's going on? And Dawson's like, I don't really know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So and then Gretchen walks in. And Joey's like, oh, found the ketchup. I'm out. And so Gretchen and Dawson have a conversation about what it is that they're doing or whatever.
Yeah, because we missed a scene. Joey and Pacey need to have a little talk because Pacey is like not having a good time at the house, and they go downstairs to the basement to talk about it, and they walk in on the most disgusting, lamest makeout session
Gretchen
between
and Dawson are
and Gretchen.
horizontal on the couch making out.
Like literally just lying there horizontally face to face.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So then Gretchen and Dawson are then in the kitchen and talking about their relationship or lack of relationship or what it is that's going on between them. And then Dawson is basically like, you need to figure out what this is because I've already told you how I feel. You know what I want. I know what I want. Now you have to figure it out. And then so Dawson leaves, and then Pacey comes in, and he's like, oh, so the thing that just happened downstairs. All right. So I guess you are moving forward with Dawson, right? And Gretchen's like, I don't know. I mean, that's the merry-go-round I was talking about. It just happened all really fast. Everyone was just moving through the kitchen really quickly. It then comes to like, I guess this is after dinner. They're all sitting in the living room, and Pacey's mom is like, I just read in Ladies' Home Journal that a good way to celebrate a birthday is to talk about fond memories we have of a birthday person. I'll start. And then it just goes into like a myriad of all the times that Pacey has been a fuck up, or like where Pacey has just been an afterthought in everybody's head, leaving him at 31 flavors, or like earlier on in the episode, there's like a framed picture of a German Shepherd. I'm assuming it was his father's police partner, like his police dog partner. And Gretchen's like, we don't talk about what happened to Chaps or whatever his name was.
Yeah. And then his dad was like, yeah, it was really upsetting. And then I like fucked some 30-year-old Thai pussy.
Oh, he was talking about what he did on his 18th birthday and that he was in the war and he saw a lot of like violence and death that day, but he celebrated later that night with a 30-year-old Korean woman, which was really gross.
So gross.
But in that moment where they're telling Pacey stories, his sister, I'm assuming it's another sister who has like 4 million kids.
Yeah, is that a sister or a cousin? Who is this woman?
Just assuming it's another sister.
Yeah, they don't officially introduce her, but we're made to think that that's like another
Witter sister.
Right, who is maybe worse than Pacey because she's like single mom. She's like divorced
with like 4 kids
and she's getting fat.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Let's not go down a whole nother lane of body shaming.
No, that's not us. Her
mom.
Yeah, like makes some comment because that's made clear. Like at some point she's offered some food and she takes like a fistful of it. And then they're like, oh, ever since the divorce, you're turning into a cow. That's what one of the parents told her.
Yeah. Well, so it's actually that sister that brings up what happened to the dog. Because earlier, like what I was trying to say before is earlier in the episode, Gretchen is like, yeah, that's Chaps and we don't talk about what happened to him. But the older sister, when they're sitting in the living room talking about Pacey's stories, is like, remember that time when Pacey like set the kitchen on fire and Chaps died of smoke inhalation? And it just sends the whole room quiet. And Pacey's dad then tries to like bring the mood back up to tell his Pacey story. And Pacey then just goes off the rails. And he just goes off on a tirade about, I know what all of you guys think about me. I'm a fuck up. I'm the worst. I'm never going to go to college. And that's where he kind of admits it to the entire room that the one college, his quote unquote backup school that he thought would be for sure an easy acceptance, he just rejected him, which is the reason why, on top of like being forced to have a birthday party with his family, this rejection letter is also like a big reason of why he's having such a terrible night. And then he just like runs out of the house.
I would too.
Yeah.
Actually, the moment that my significant other took me to my family's house when I didn't want to be around these fucking lunatics, I would have left before I even entered. Like, I didn't want this. I told you I didn't want this. And this is what you've chosen for me. Before we move on, I want to say one other thing that Pacey said about his dad that I thought was really cool. Pacey was talking to Joey And he's like, yeah, this whole thing, it's just my dad's excuse to get a little drunker than usual and pass out on the couch watching when animals attack. And when I heard that, I was like, that sounds like fucking a lot of fun to me. I mean, that sounds like a perfect night. A little drunker than usual. And then you pass out on the couch watching when animals attack. That's fucking great. Who wouldn't want that? That was my takeaway from this episode.
All right.
And villains of vengeance, because I just feel like this episode was full of the whole room was like
the whole room were villains.
Yeah,
with the exception of like Pacey's friends.
Yeah,
and Gretchen. Gretchen tried to like tell a story where Pacey came to her rescue or to her defense or whatever. But then of course Pacey's dad was like, I remember that same kid beat you to a pulp after that. So Pacey runs out. Joey and Dawson go look for him, and it's his dad who finds him sitting on a dock. He's like freezing because he ran out of the house without his coat. You know, similar to like past episodes where we've seen his dad being a complete asshole, be the villain that he's supposed to be. At the moments later, we see a moment of softness with his dad, and he admits to Pacey that the first time he applied to the police academy, he didn't get in, and then he still kind of was also I didn't really know how to take this because he was like, I just don't know if college is the place for you.
I didn't know how to take that either.
And I was thinking about the whole like college thing because I was like our generation was really encouraged. Like if you don't go to college, you're going to have a much harder time afterwards. Like your college degree is so important that you have to go. You just have to, you have to. And like, I remember my parents never forced me to go to college, but they did tell me like, your oldest brother said he wanted to take a gap year to just, I don't know, figure himself out.
Which actually is probably for the best because I just don't think 17-year-olds know what they want to do for the rest of their lives, and college is expensive.
Well, their point to me was like, we allowed him to do that. We said, okay, do what you feel you got to do, but then he never went to college.
Right, and that was also another thing, like we were discouraged from taking a year off because once you've done that, then it's harder to like get the motivation to go. But actually, I think it should just be a part of like what everyone does.
I think it was actually more of my school and my fellow classmates that maybe put more pressure on me. Like I was in an environment where if you didn't go to college, then you were probably a loser. Like you were probably going to be a loser in life if you didn't go to college.
Same.
And so I never really got that pressure from my parents. So their sort of encouragement was like, you're our last hope. Like you're the last child in the family. Like we
don't fuck this up.
That was kind of the pressure. Although, like I said, I never really felt like it was pressure from them. But I guess it was like, because they were just basically saying like, you're our last chance to have a child to graduate from college. So please go to college. But I also think like I was saying before, like I think that's of our generation. Like I think now, college wasn't advertised as such a necessity.
I was never given the option. Like I didn't think there was any other avenue.
Did your parents go to college?
Yeah.
See, neither of my parents did. So they wanted better for me than their experience in life. So it's not like they pushed it. It was sort of just like, this is what you're going to do. This is what everyone's doing.
Right. Yeah.
Sort of thing.
So I didn't really know how to feel about what his dad was saying. Cause I was like, well, that's kind of what kids did, or that's kind of what kids felt back in those days, during that time, the late 90s to early 2000s. Like that's just what you do. You graduate high school and you go to college. And if you don't go to college, then you're fucking up your life.
Yeah, even if it's just community college.
Yeah.
You go somewhere and
right.
you specialize in something.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see what happens with Pacey and his future.
Is he going to be a cop too?
And this gets him...
He should be like a seaman.
Well, it's kind of funny because I was wondering if he was alluding to that, because when his dad found him, he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I just wanted to be close to the water.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is he saying something?
This is my special place, Dad.
I mean, that's the other alternative. You don't go to college. You find a trade.
You find a trade.
Yeah, you join the military.
Join the military.
That's what I was thinking too.
You join the Coast Guard, the Army.
Well,
he
you
could
join
be
the
National
Coast Guard,
Guard.
Well,
and
he
then
could-
you find a woman later in life, and then you destroy her life.
He could be a fisherman. You know, we've seen those longshore fishermen come through Cape Side.
Oh yeah, he could be one
That
of
could
those
be-
longshoremen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those dudes can make good money too. I mean,
they can also
'cause-
bang teenagers. So
Totally.
And he said he wanted to be near the water, so it doesn't necessarily have to be military, as in Navy or Coast Guard. It could be. Is the Coast Guard? Coast Guard's not military.
It's a
just-
branch. It's
is
not
it?
active. It's not considered active military.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily military, but he could be a trade, like a longshore fisherman or whatever those dudes are called.
Long John Silver.
Long John Silver, yeah. Anyways,
He could be a trash man. You know, I think about this a lot. I could just, things aren't going well for me professionally at the moment. If I worked for, what is the department?
Department of Sanitation.
Sanitation.
Yes. I could make a lot of money.
Also, if you worked for the MTA, you could make a lot of money.
I don't want to work for the MTA because there's a chance that if I'm like driving a bus or even the train, a crazy person will get on, blow up the train, stab me, whatever.
I thought,
if
you were,
I work-
I thought you were gonna say because you don't have a place to poop.
Oh, no. I would just, there are poop buckets in the little like,
In the train,
yeah, you just poop in the bucket.
but not if you're a bus driver. You can't just poop in a bucket on a bus.
No, you can't. It's too aerated. Like it's
No.
all connected. But if I'm a trash woman, I would work late shifts, which is like, I'm a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
I would make a ton of money, union position, and I would get to shoot the shit with like other blue collar New Yorkers.
So maybe you should.
It sounds like a
yeah.
dream.
So maybe you should look into this.
But
Right.
like we look down on trash collectors, but actually they're doing way better than I am.
I mean, I don't.
I don't. Yeah.
I just mean like culturally, people like talk shit about. What are you going to be, a garbage collector? Actually, yeah, I am aspiring to this now.
I mean,
I
it's,
want to be a garbage collector.
it's a good job. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. So there's this like moment of softness between Pacey and his dad. You know, they connect a little bit. They're back at the house, and Pacey is worried about his relationship with Joey because he got this rejection, and Joey seems pretty set on where she's going to go, and like her life is, you know, unfolding as she wants it to. And Joey is just like trying to convince him in all sorts of ways, like, you know, we'll be fine.
Oh yeah, he tries to break up with her, and she was like,
Oh, does he?
That's what I saw. That's what I felt when I saw that. He was like, our lives are moving in different directions and it's not going to work. And she was like, no, we're just going to figure this out together. But I was like, he's totally trying to bail. And she's just like not having it. She's like, nope. I felt like he was trying to be like, oh, you're going to Harvard College, even though she hasn't got accepted there yet, but that's where it's going. And I'm gonna be a dog groomer. And she was like, no, I'm not gonna fucking let you off the hook that easy.
Yeah.
You're gonna make 6 figures, and so am I, and we're gonna be rich together, and go fuck yourself.
Is that what she said?
And then go fuck yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're in this together, but go fuck yourself.
He was trying to break up with her. He was trying to be like, you're better than
I don't
me.
think he was trying to break up
Well,
with
I
her.
kind of could see that he was trying to break up with her, but because of self-loathing.
Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yes.
Yes.
But I don't think he was legitimately trying to break up with her in that moment.
No, he was just feeling
I think
sorry
he was
for
just
himself.
right, exactly, just feeling sorry for himself. He thought that from his perspective, he probably thought he was giving her an easy out. He's like, "Look, I'm not going anywhere. You're going places, you know.
This is your last
I'm
chance.
gonna-
This is the last exit before the toll bridge.
Yeah,
you can
like,
get off
I would-
here if you want."
I would just be holding you back." I mean, I feel like if he was trying to break up with her, he was going to make her be the one to do it. But
Oh,
she's
yeah,
like,
'cause he's a man.
but she's but she's like, "Nuh-uh, we're in this together for life."
Yeah, she's like, no, fuck you. We're doing this.
And then they start kissing, and then all of a sudden fireworks start to go off. I guess we should have mentioned this before, but the present that Pacey's dad gives to him is a set of fireworks. And of course, Pacey's like, "Great, fireworks, like best present ever." And that was actually the story that Pacey's dad tells him while they're sitting on the dock together, he's like, I forgot to tell you my favorite Pacey moment. And it was his 10th birthday where he gives him fireworks. And Pacey said, this is the best present ever. This is the best birthday ever. And he was just so happy, and it made his dad so happy. So that's why he had given him fireworks this time, because he's like wanted to remind Pacey of one of his better birthdays. So after Joey and Pacey have their little conversation, they start kissing, and then all of a sudden fireworks start going off, and the whole gang, family and friends included, all get together and enjoy the fireworks. I guess quickly before, one other thing, like this is all surrounding Pacey, but I feel like we should just quickly mention that Jen this whole time has 5 hours left on her community service. And so what she's doing that evening is doing a ride along with Toby, the leader of that gay straight teen coalition, picking up drunk kids and driving them home. They just make a quick drive by to wish Pacey happy birthday, and Toby's there, and Jack's like, what the fuck is he doing here? And so Jack approaches Toby and is like, hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm just here to make you feel uncomfortable. And Jack's like, all right, I'm out of here. And then while they're back in the car, Jen is like, I can tell that you like Jack. And the only way that you're going to get to know Jack and get to be his friend is that you have to be nice to him. You can't be mean to him every time you see him. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll try that. So I guess we're going to see more of Toby.
And then there was one conversation they had when they were doing the cab pickups. It was almost like Taxi Cab Confessional. Remember that show?
Yes.
It was almost
HBO.
Yeah, it was almost like that, because they would pick people up and then they'd be making out in the back seat and shit. And there was one conversation that Jen had with Toby, and he's like, Toby's like, yeah, I have a boyfriend, and he's just like really attractive, and he's really gorgeous. And Jen was like, you don't think Jack's gorgeous?
He's built like a Greek god.
Yeah. And I thought the same thing. I was like, wait, Toby, you don't think Jack's gorgeous? He's so gorgeous.
I mean, Jen has a weird gay crush on Jack.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
I get that. I get it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
It would be hard. It would be hard to spend
really
that.
fucking frustrating.
It would be hard to spend that much time with your incredibly cute gay best friend and not grow feelings for that person.
Yeah, not be like, why are you fucking gay? God damn it. God damn it.
And then Gretchen and Dawson decide to find out, I don't know, their whole thing was like, we're here now. Let's just see where this goes.
Yeah, because Gretchen didn't want to tell anyone. She didn't want a date night. She didn't want to tell anyone that they were dating at all.
Right.
And I think Dawson was getting a little upset by
Yeah,
because he's like, what do you mean? I thought we were like official, and I thought we were just gonna like break out the news to everyone. And she's like, about that, you're kind of embarrassing to me. That was sort of the vibe I got. She's like I'm into you to make out awkwardly on the couch, but I don't want everyone to know that we're doing this because you're a little embarrassing.
Yep, that was Gretchen's
Or maybe
feelings.
that was me projecting. Like that's what I would do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, okay, I forget. Has Dawson had sex yet? I know he's had his dong sucked by the prostitute that came into town.
She was a stripper.
Sorry, a stripper. So that happened, but has he actually had sex?
Dawson is still a virgin.
Okay, Gretchen definitely is not, because she's had a miscarriage. So I'm just thinking, like, there's no way that a 20-something-year-old woman is going to hold out on sex because she's dating a 17-year-old Dawson. Like, he's got to fucking pick it up. It's time to have sex.
All right.
Because she's not going to be like, oh yeah, let's keep dating until you're ready.
Well, we'll find out.
I feel like she is going to be pressuring Dawson. She wants to bang.
Are you making another bold prediction?
I'm making a bold prediction that Dawson is going to be really weird about sex, and Gretchen is going to be like horny, sex hungry. She's ravenous. She needs it like now.
All right.
Immediately.
I think
I don't think they'll ever address it, but that is still my bold prediction.
Oh, they will address it because Dawson having sex for the first time is going to be a big, massive deal on this show. It has to be.
Is he going to cry?
I don't remember. So we're all going to find out together.
I think she'll also leave him.
I mean, it's kind of weird. She because it's funny that you say that, because she kind of alludes to that when they're having their little conversation by the fire pit or whatever outside. Like, she's like, I'm just really worried because what's going to happen when I leave or like if I leave. I'm like, are the writers already considering writing her off the show? Like, where is she going? There's been no discussion up to this point that Gretchen's time in Cape Side is temporary. I mean, I guess maybe we're supposed to assume that because she should be in college. So I guess maybe it's something she's supposed to be considering at some point. But I just thought it was really strange because that whole thing of her like not being in Cape Side just hasn't been brought up before until this moment. And Dawson says the same thing. He's like, well, I'm also leaving. I'm leaving at the end of the year to go to college. So his point is like, let's just enjoy it, whatever this is, like right here, right now.
Yeah, let's keep awkwardly making out on the couch, and then we'll never have sex, and then I'll go off to college, and you'll go back to Johnny's Creek, and then that'll be it.
Johnny's Creek College. Yeah. So the whole show ends with like the entire gang just outside enjoying the homemade fireworks, which I guess are not illegal in Cape Side like they are elsewhere.
They're illegal here, but people still.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Do it.
Like,
I mean, they're illegal in New York City for a reason.
I mean, his dad is the police chief. So of all places to be setting off illegal fireworks, I don't think it would be the police chief's house. All right. So that's how that ends. Everyone happy. All the witters happily arm in arm with each other, setting off fireworks.
It's very traditional. Traditional Americana. Family dysfunction and explosives.
and fireworks. Problem solved. Oh, your family's a shit show? Set off some fireworks.
Yeah. Everyone will be distracted by the sights and the sounds. Mm-hmm. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. This has been another riveting episode of Basic Teen TV. Thanks for listening. Next week, we're going to talk about episodes 13, 14, and 15. So excited.
Only 8,000 more episodes to go.
Every time. It's every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you can find us on Instagram at Basic Teen TV. Maybe stop by Apple Podcasts and give us a rating and review.
Maybe listen. Maybe listen to some episodes.
First step, listen. Second step, follow us on Instagram at Basic Teen TV. Next step, rating and review. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and then listen again.
And then, keep listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't listen to the first 10 minutes and think you've done your job because you haven't. Listen to all of them from start to finish.
All of them.
All of them.
Give up your whole fucking weekend and listen to all the episodes. Thanks.
All right. I'm Melissa.
And Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.